After a couple good weeks, the markets have actually not been doing so hot as of late. Over the past couple weeks, the markets are actually down about 3 to like 3.5%, dating back to kind of these highs we saw on like December 8th, right in that area. But even more bad news, over the past few days, we've gotten a couple big, weird, crazy news stories that could be signaling that the markets are about to go even lower. In this video today, we're going to be going over one of those very, very important, very big, and very crazy stories. All the details, everything you guys need to know, all of that good stuff. But first, let me plug my cash trading business. If you guys are looking to sell or cash out of your inventory, sell any of your CS2 items, anything like that, definitely hit me up. My Twitter is going to be the first link in the description below. Since the market's going down, that means a lot of people are selling. That means a lot of people are looking to, maybe go to some cash, maybe go to some safer stuff, maybe sit on the sideline, see how things are going to play out. And I offer you a quick, easy, safe way to cash out. I'm buying a ton of stuff for between like 85 and 90% buff. I have a ton of different payment options, all that good stuff. Hit me up in the DMs. We can talk about whatever items you guys are looking to get rid of, and we can probably work out a deal. With that being said, let's get right into this. So, out of China today, I don't know, late last night, early this morning, whatever, we got some pretty big and potentially pretty scary and pretty bad news. We obviously don't know all the details, and stuff always coming out of China is always like a little bit hazy, a little bit shady. Sometimes it has to be translated a bunch of different times. Sometimes we're not getting the full story. Sometimes China kind of flip-flops back and forth on a lot of different weird stuff, but whatever. Here's the latest news that has people and the markets a little bit concerned. And obviously when the markets get a little bit concerned, that means prices are probably going to go down. People like to be confident. People like to know what's going to happen next, or think they know what's going to happen next at least. So China issues draft rules for online game management. This is from Reuters. Critical news for China's video games industry as regulators revealed draft rules for the sector today. Details are as follows. Chinese regulators require online games to set spending limits and ban daily log-in rewards. So, obviously there's a lot of like mobile games and stuff where they try to give you daily login rewards. You just keep coming back every day. We know that can be like very addicting and a great formula to get players coming back. Don't really think CS has that issue. Obviously, there's no daily login rewards or nothing like that. Obviously, there's like weekly, you play the game, you get cases and drops and all that stuff. I don't really think this is what that's talking about, but those are kind of along the same lines, trying to get you to consistently return back and play the game and get rewards and dopamine and blah, 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 whatever. But obviously, setting spending limits could be more of an issue. Obviously, one of the big things people like to do in CS is spend a ton of money, buy a bunch of cases, buy a bunch of keys, open up a bunch of stuff, whether it be capsules or cases or whatever. And having some spending limits could cut down on the whales a little bit. And obviously, it's not going to affect probably a large portion of the player base at all. I don't think a high percentage of the portion is like a huge daily spender, on Counter-Strike or anything like that. But obviously this at least could impact some things a little bit. Maybe it would affect case investing or just case unboxing numbers. I'm not really sure. I don't really know, how much volume China is doing versus like other countries or other parts of the world or other regions or whatever. But it's at least something that could affect CS. China requires online game approvals to be processed by regulators within 60 days. Don't really know what that means. Chinese regulators ban live streaming of heavy tipping within games. So obviously we did recently hear that Twitch was going to be leaving Korea. So I don't know. It seems like now there might be some more issues with different companies taking issues with certain live streams and stuff like that. I know the whole kind of Twitch in Korea thing was its whole other thing about like internet speeds and prices and all that stuff and whatever. But I do think this is kind of interesting that they're going to be banning live streaming of heavy tipping within games, because obviously streaming culture, especially in modern day gaming, is a huge thing. It's how people learn about new games. It's how people maybe return to old games. It's how people see about new content and stuff like that. So and obviously, along with streaming, the streamers need to make money, and if these sites aren't paying them, tipping can be a really, really great way to, make people afford to be able to stream or create content or entertain people or whatever. So I don't know. That's one I don't understand as much, but that is pretty interesting if streaming in both Korea and China could be taking a big hit in just a couple of weeks. So I don't know. Watch out for that, I guess. Chinese regulators ban online games from offering probability-based luck draw features to minors. Now, obviously, that is a big one because cases seem to be just that. Not only cases, but capsules and all these different things. So is the answer here to police or somehow restrict restrict minors from being able to do this, or is the answer to remove or, you know, somehow limit or regulate or whatever the probability-based luck draw features in these games? I'm not exactly sure. Is there going to be some issue that pops up in China where maybe China has to go to the X-ray cases like they do in France or whatever? Are cases going to be downright banned or outlawed to some extent in China or whatever? You know, I don't really see that happening. I don't think it's going to get to that extent, but it could. You know, who knows? And again, this is something that absolutely would impact and affect, you know, case investing and all kinds of stuff like that. But yeah, this doesn't say that this is happening 100%. It also doesn't really say any, you know, concrete guidelines or rules or whatever. But again, I do think there are multiple ways to look at that. Some people are saying, oh, they're going to, you know, hopefully focus on kids or you know, ensuring people's ages or IDing people or whatever. And some people are saying, oh, wow, that sounds bad news for cases altogether. I don't really know. Chinese regulators require game publishers to store servers within China. I don't think that matters as much, but this guy does go very, very in-depth into this whole thread. You guys can check it out over on Twitter. It's by Josh Yee. He's a tech correspondent for Reuters, and he has this whole thread about a bunch of different, you know, more details and things going on in the story. But I did have a couple other things I wanted to go through. That the market is feeling this at least to some extent. We had Meetow Cat saying Team LDLC Hollow sold on Buff for $22,689 today. Sales legit since by Quad Titan Hollow number 670 owner before, who is a nice collector. And we can see that the prices of some of these Katos have dropped down. Now, what is interesting to me is that if you look back to May of 2023, the price has actually still increased. Now, obviously, this is not a big increase, going from 145 to 162 in 7 months. But again, we did have this crazy run-up of Katos and really all Counter-Strike items that have now kind of been coming back down. But this is a big jump in just 3 months, going from September to December, going from 240 to 162. But, you know, I think there are some people scared and kind of worried and panicking right now. This guy says China panic news, but that was a draft and modifying, so I guess it's not that relevant. So some people in China seem to not even be that concerned with the whole thing just yet. I don't know, but there are some parts of the market that are seeing a little bit of a hit. Obviously, this isn't all necessarily related to the China stuff, but the China stuff isn't helping, and the markets were kind of already dropping anyway. And then if we get some more bad news on top of it, obviously that's not a great thing. Then we have... I had one more tweet that I want to pull up as well, but we did have this. A big change in the gaming market caused by Chinese state policy is taking place, and the impact of this policy can be seen in the stock slump of NetEase, the parent company of Buff 163. So when this, you know, rumors or news or whatever of regulations and laws and stuff coming out, it looks like this company, you know, dropped around 28% in a day or 22.5% a day and kind of bounced back or whatever. So people in the Chinese stock market are worried. They were concerned. Now, as people have more time to actually digest the news and take a look at it and figure things out, are we maybe going to get a more stable price or a rebound in the price or whatever? I don't know. But obviously, China is a huge market in the CS scene. They're a huge market in the CS investing world, and something impacting them could be felt throughout everywhere. Even if it's just a change in China or whatever, it will still be felt in Europe. It'll still be felt in the United States. It'll still be felt in Australia. That doesn't mean that the market necessarily needs China, because obviously there was CS markets before China. There will be CS markets after China, but it could, you know, kind of maybe lead to some kind of prolonged downward period or whatever. But I also don't think that in the end, China is going to be removed from the Counter-Strike markets or anything like that. I think there's still too much money in it. It's kind of, I don't want to say too big to fail at this point, but I'm sure they'll be able to work something out. It seems like oftentimes we get these big, scary, crazy rumors and news, and then not much ends up coming to fruition. You know, it kind of just reminds me of like the crypto world or crypto scene and stuff like that. Could CSGO cases be banned off China with these new regulations? And I don't know, the guy doesn't really answer, but obviously there is some people being quite concerned about that. So I don't know, some really big news coming out of China today. Again, the market was already in a little bit of a downturn, a little bit of a slump. I do think that overall the markets will be okay. I think 2024 is going to be a good year. I think we're going to bounce back strong. But this Chinese story and however these regulations and laws and stuff are going to play out is definitely something to keep an eye on. And it was definitely just kind of scary, weird, annoying news to have to read about today. So I don't know. Keep an eye on it. We'll see what happens. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.